On this video we are gonna analyze Napoli's tactics versus Atalanta and why Kvaratskhelia is a key player for Spalletti. First we are gonna see Napoli's offensive structure. When the goalkeeper had the ball, Atalanta's first line of pressure waited in zone B and they tried to cover the central channels, but this created a space for Napoli's fullbacks. Therefore there was a lot of space to progress with the ball for the fullbacks, because also the wingers like Kvaratskhelia attracted to the opponent's fullback. So Napoli took the ball to the opponent's half, and also Atalanta's midfielders couldn't cover the width of the field and they always left space on the sides. Thus, when Spalletti's players had the ball near the opponent's box, it was important the movements of Osimhen, because he had to drop back to the space between the lines and create a space for his teammates. Lobotka and Anguissa played a crucial role in the build-up when Atalanta pressed with 4 players, since they had to be the first passing option, received the ball to attract the opponents and create a space for the fullbacks. On the right side, Politano had time and space to receive the ball and he was supported by Zielinski, however they couldn't progress with the ball on this side. Also Di Lorenzo and Olivera played crucial roles in the build-up. When the center-backs moved the ball to zone B, Lobotka joined them to have the same number of players in this zone. Furthermore, Di Lorenzo moved inside to create a passing line and received with space. This unbalanced Atalanta because they left huge space between the lines, which Anguissa occupied really well. In the same way, Olivera moved inside to create a diamond and have the same number of players than the opponents. Therefore, in order to create numerical superiority, Atalanta's center-back had to jump over Zielinski, but this created a space for Kvaratskhelia. Also, to progress with the ball, Anguissa and Lobotka attracted to the opponent's midfielders, and this created a space for Olivera on the opposite flank. In this zone, Napoli was patient to move the ball from the left to the right, because Atalanta's midfielders tried to cover the left side, but they left space for Di Lorenzo. Nevertheless, in the final third, Napoli had troubles to get into the opponent's box. For that reason they tried to play with Kvaratskhelia, who had great individual skills to break the opponent's defensive line. 2 players went over him, however Kvaratskhelia with a great movement, he got right of them and created a great chance. The times Anguissa joined Kim and Rahmani, the fullbacks Lobotka and Zielinski tried to create passing lines behind Atlanta's first line of pressure. Therefore they received between the lines. Osimhen attracted to the opponent's center-backs, while Kvaratskhelia only had the opponent's fullback. Nevertheless, when he received the ball, 3 players went over him and he couldn't get into the box. For that reason, Napoli was slow in the final third, because they couldn't get into the box, since Atalanta covered really well the sides and they had 10 players behind the ball. In the halftime, Spalletti told his players to be more direct in the opponent's half. As a consequence, when Anguissa received the ball with space, he played with Di Lorenzo, who moved inside. Instead of playing to the side with Politano, he tried to play it with Osimhen, who had only 1 man over him, since one center-back went over Di Lorenzo and Politano attracted to the opponent's fullback. Following, we are gonna analyze Napoli's defensive structure. Osimhen directed the pressure in Atalanta's zone A, thus Napoli pressed with 5 players in this zone. Nevertheless, when the opponent overcame Osimhen, Napoli pressed with 6 players in zone B. Also, it was important how they dropped back, because they kept the shape and covered the passing lines to the strikers. Therefore, Atalanta couldn't progress to Napoli's half. When Atalanta's strikers received the ball, 3 players went over him and they forced him to play backwards. When Zielinski joined Osimhen in the pressure, it was important how compact was Napoli, because the fullbacks also joined the pressure, but when they were overcame, the center-backs like Kim dared to press on the opponent's half and forced the strikers to make a mistake. Kim was outstanding at the back, because he won the duels against the opponent's strikers, and when he recovered the ball he was calm to find a passing line. For Kvaratskhelia goal, it was important how the midfielders kept the shape to cover the passing lines to the opponent's strikers, but also to intercept the ball and play it forward with Osimhen. As a consequence, Osimhen and Kvaratskhelia had numerical inferiority against 3 Atalanta's defenders, but Osimhen played a great ball to Kvaratskhelia, who had a 1-to-1 situation. However, the opponent's defenders tried to cover the shoot and Kvaratskhelia had to make 2 flicks. So when he is about to shoot, he knows that the goalkeeper and the defender will jump to the second post. So he shot to the first post and scored an amazing goal. Leave your thoughts about Kvaratskhelia and Napoli's tactics. Don't forget to subscribe and thanks for watching.